My dad and I were inseparable before he remarried. The 1967 Mustang my grandfather left me was my pride and joy, a symbol of our bond through countless restoration weekends. When Amanda joined our family, I genuinely tried welcoming her despite her entitled attitude that Dad dismissed as adjustment issues. Never imagined she would steal my car after I explicitly said no, much less wreck it beyond repair. The true betrayal came when Dad took her side completely, making me question everything about our relationship. Before I dive into how my stepsister destroyed my prized possession, let me know where you are watching from in the comments, and subscribe for more stories about standing up for yourself when family crosses the line. Growing up, it was just my dad and me against the world after my mom left when I was 7. We built a strong bond through fishing trips, weekend projects, and our shared love for classic cars. By 29, I had established myself as a software engineer at a mid-sized tech company, working hard for everything I owned. I took pride in being financially independent, maintaining a modest but comfortable apartment, and keeping my grandfather's 1967 Mustang in pristine condition. Everything changed 5 years ago when my dad introduced me to Judith, a divorced mother with a 23-year-old daughter named Amanda. Their whirlwind romance led to marriage within 6 months. I was genuinely happy for my dad. After years of focusing solely on raising me, he deserved companionship and happiness. Amanda initially seemed pleasant enough. She had a bright smile and laughed at all my jokes during our first few family dinners. But subtle warning signs appeared almost immediately. She casually picked up my phone to browse through my photos without asking. She interrupted conversations to redirect attention to herself. Still, I made excuses for her behavior, assuming she was just nervous about integrating into our established father-son dynamic. My 1967 Mustang held a special place in my heart. My grandfather purchased it new off the lot, and it became his prized possession. When I turned 16, Grandpa was already battling cancer, but he insisted we restore the car together. For 2 years, we spent every weekend in his garage, replacing parts, sanding down rust, and carefully repainting it the original candy apple red. Those hours in the garage were filled with life lessons and stories about his youth that I treasured more than the car itself. When Grandpa passed away, he left me the Mustang with a handwritten note. "Douglas, take care of her, and remember everything we built together. There is no problem in life that cannot be solved with patience, persistence, and the right tools." I proudly displayed this note in a small frame on my desk and considered the car a physical manifestation of his wisdom and our relationship. The first major incident with Amanda occurred 3 months after the wedding. I arrived at my apartment after work to find my expensive noise-canceling headphones missing. After searching everywhere, I called my dad to ask if I had accidentally left them at his house during Sunday dinner. I heard Amanda in the background saying, "Oh, those. I borrowed them for my flight. I will bring them back this weekend." No apology. No acknowledgement that she had entered my room at my dad's house, taken my property without permission, and caused me unnecessary stress. When I gently pointed this out later, her response was, textbook, non-accountability. "Sorry you got so upset about it. I did not think it would be a big deal." Similar incidents followed with increasing frequency. My laptop disappeared for 2 days. Apparently Amanda needed it because her computer was in for repairs. My favorite college sweatshirt vanished only to reappear in her Instagram photos. Each time my concerns were dismissed by both Amanda and increasingly by my father. "She is still adjusting to being part of a family," my dad would say. "Do not be so possessive, Douglas. Family shares things." The dynamic was clear. Amanda could take whatever she wanted without permission, and I was expected to accept it graciously. My boundaries meant nothing while her desires were paramount. By the 3rd year of their marriage, I had learned to lock my room at my dad's house and take all valuables with me whenever I visited. I loved my dad and wanted to maintain our relationship, but I also needed to protect myself from Amanda's entitled behavior. Then came the job interview that would have changed everything. A prestigious tech company with twice my current salary and excellent benefits was interested in my portfolio. After 2 phone interviews, they invited me for an in-person meeting with the department head. This was my chance to make a significant career leap. I planned everything meticulously. My suit was professionally cleaned. My portfolio was updated and printed on high-quality paper. I researched the company extensively and prepared thoughtful questions. And yes, I planned to drive my grandfather's Mustang to make a memorable impression. In the tech world, standing out matters, and arriving in a beautifully restored classic car would definitely help me stand out. 2 days before the interview, Amanda called me. "Douglas, I need a favor," she said with her usual casual entitlement. "My friend is having this huge party at her lake house, and I want to make an entrance. Can I borrow your Mustang?" The request was so audacious, I actually laughed, thinking she was joking. When I realized she was serious, I explained firmly, but politely, why that would never happen. "Amanda, that car was a project with my grandfather before he died. It has immense sentimental value, and I never loan it to anyone. Plus, I have a job interview that day and need the car myself." She tried several angles. She would be super careful. She would put in gas. She would owe me a huge favor. Each time I politely but firmly said no. Eventually, she seemed to accept my decision. "I am sorry, but that car is off limits," I said finally. "I hope you understand." "Fine, whatever," she replied with a hint of irritation. "I will figure something else out." I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. The morning of my interview, I woke up early, had breakfast, and got dressed in my best suit. When I went to the garage to warm up the Mustang, my heart dropped into my stomach. The space where my car should have been was empty. My first thought was that it had been stolen. I frantically checked for signs of break-in, but the garage was intact. Then a sickening realization washed over me. I called Amanda repeatedly, but each call went straight to voicemail. I texted her asking directly if she had taken my car. No response. I called my dad in a panic, explaining the situation. "Are you sure you did not agree to let her borrow it?" he asked immediately, assuming I was at fault. "Dad." I explicitly told her no multiple times, I said, trying to keep the desperation from my voice. "I need to get to this interview. It starts in less than 2 hours." He sighed. "She mentioned going to a lake party with friends." "I will try calling her, but you might need to find another way to your interview." I scrambled to arrange alternative transportation. Uber showed a 40-minute wait time due to morning rush hour. Rental car companies had nothing available on such short notice. A friend who lived nearby was already at work. In desperation, I called a taxi service which promised to arrive in 30 minutes. The taxi was late. Traffic was brutal. By the time I arrived at the interview location, sweaty and stressed, I was 28 minutes late. The receptionist informed me coldly that the hiring manager had already filled the slot with another candidate. No rescheduling would be possible. Walking out of that building knowing an incredible opportunity had slipped through my fingers because of my stepsister's selfishness, I felt a mixture of rage and despair that I had never experienced before. I returned home in the same taxi, my mind racing between worry about my car and fury over the missed opportunity. At 1:30 in the afternoon, 6 hours after I discovered the car missing, Amanda finally texted, "Borrowed the car. Be back soon." No apology. No acknowledgement of what she had done. Just a casual notification as if she had taken a pen from my desk. I paced my apartment for another 2 hours, calling her repeatedly. Each call went unanswered. My anxiety grew with every passing minute. What was she doing with my car? When would she return it? How would I explain to my dad that I might need to take legal action against his stepdaughter? Then at 3:45 my phone rang. It was Amanda. The moment I heard her voice, I knew something was terribly wrong. "So do not freak out," she began, her voice artificially casual. "I had a tiny accident with the Mustang." "What kind of accident?" I demanded, my voice shaking. "Some idiot pulled out in front of me at an intersection, and I could not stop in time. The front end is a little damaged. But I am fine, thanks for asking. Where are you? Where is my car?" She gave me an address about 30 miles away near the lake, where her friend's party had been held. I grabbed my keys and wallet and drove a rental car to the location, my hands shaking the entire journey. Nothing could have prepared me for what I saw. My beautiful candy apple red 1967 Mustang. My grandfather's legacy was crumpled like an accordion against a telephone pole. The entire front end was destroyed. The hood had folded up like paper. The windshield was a spider web of cracks. Even from a distance, I could tell it was far beyond a little damaged. It was totaled. Amanda was sitting on the curb scrolling through her phone, seemingly unbothered. When she saw me, she had the audacity to smile. Finally, she said, "I've been waiting forever." I stood in shock, staring at the wreckage of my most prized possession. Every memory with my grandfather flashed through my mind. Every weekend spent carefully restoring each part. His patient instructions, his stories, all destroyed by Amanda's selfish disregard. What happened? I finally managed to ask, my voice hollow. She shrugged. The roads were wet from the rain last night. Some guy pulled out, and when I tried to stop, the car slid. These old cars do not have good brakes, you know. Not like modern ones with anti-lock braking systems. Her complete lack of remorse was staggering. "You can just fix it, right?" she continued, as if discussing a minor scratch. "That is what insurance is for. Anyway, can you give me a ride home?" My friends already left. I called my insurance company from the scene. As I feared, the classic car policy I had would not cover the full restoration value. The car was deemed a total loss, and the payout would be nowhere near what it would cost to restore it, assuming that was even possible given the extensive damage. The confrontation with Amanda in the car on the way back was explosive. I laid out exactly what she had done. Stolen my car, after explicit refusal caused me to miss a life-changing job opportunity, destroyed an irreplaceable family heirloom, and shown zero remorse throughout. "You are being super dramatic," she replied, rolling her eyes. "It is just a car. You can buy another one. Just a car. It was my grandfather's. We restored it together, before he died. It is irreplaceable. Well, he is dead, so it is not like he cares now," she said callously. I nearly pulled over right there. Her cruelty was breathtaking. Instead, I drove in silence, my knuckles white on the steering wheel, determined to get support from my father. When we arrived at my dad's house, I explained everything, certain he would finally see Amanda for who she really was. To my shock and heartbreak, he sided with her completely. "These things happen, Douglas," he said dismissively. "Accidents occur. At least Amanda is okay. That is what matters. Dad, she stole my car. After I explicitly told her no, she caused me to miss my interview. She destroyed Grandpa's Mustang, and she has not apologized once." He sighed as if I were being unreasonable. "It is just a car, son. I know it meant something to you, but in the grand scheme of things, it is a material possession. You are too attached to things." I could not believe what I was hearing. The car represented my relationship with my grandfather, hours of bonding with him during his final years. It was the only physical connection I had left to him, and my own father was dismissing its significance entirely. "Amanda needs to take responsibility for what she did," I insisted. "She needs to apologize and make amends." My father glanced at Amanda, who had adopted a wounded expression, then back at me. "I think you need to be the bigger person here, Douglas. Holding grudges is not healthy. Family forgives each other." The argument escalated. Every example of Amanda's past boundary violations came pouring out of me. My father dismissed each one as minor or misunderstood. Amanda played the victim, claiming I had always been cold and unwelcoming to her. Finally, my father delivered an ultimatum. "You need to drop this, or you are going to create a permanent rift in this family. Is that what you want?" In that moment, a painful clarity washed over me. My feelings had never mattered in this new family dynamic. My boundaries would never be respected. My father had chosen his new wife and stepdaughter over me over and over again. I left without another word, drove back to my apartment, and spent a sleepless night contemplating what to do next. The next morning, I made a decision that would change the course of my life. I would no longer subject myself to a family dynamic where my feelings and boundaries meant nothing. I would stand up for myself by creating physical and emotional distance. I took a personal day from work and began apartment hunting immediately. By sheer luck, I found a small one-bedroom unit available for immediate move-in. It was further from my workplace and significantly more expensive than my current place, but it was available now, and I needed out. I signed the lease that afternoon, putting down the security deposit and first month's rent from my emergency savings. Then I returned to my current apartment and began packing essential belongings, while my father and Amanda were both at work. I knew if I attempted to move out when they were around, there would be a confrontation designed to make me feel guilty and manipulate me into staying. Before leaving, I wrote a note explaining my decision. Dad, I need some space to process everything that has happened. Amanda violated my boundaries in the worst way possible by taking my car without permission after I explicitly said no. The car represented my relationship with Grandpa and is irreplaceable. Your dismissal of my feelings and justification of her behavior has made it clear where I stand in this family. I am moving out and need time to reconsider our relationship. I will reach out when I am ready. Douglas. The first weeks on my own were incredibly difficult. The financial strain of paying for a new, more expensive apartment while dealing with the loss of my car and the missed job opportunity created a perfect storm of stress. I had to dip further into my savings and put some expenses on credit cards just to stay afloat. My phone buzzed constantly with calls and texts from my father. His messages evolved from anger to confusion to guilt trips. You are being childish, Douglas. Family works through problems. I do not understand why you are making such a big deal about this. Your grandfather would be ashamed of how unforgiving you are being. This is breaking your stepmother's heart. Is that what you want? Amanda made no attempt to contact me directly, which confirmed everything I already knew about her character. She had no remorse, no accountability, and no real interest in making amends. Despite the pressure, I refused to back down. For the first time in years, I was prioritizing my own well-being over keeping the peace in a dysfunctional family system. It was painful but necessary. The job hunt began immediately. Though I had missed out on my dream opportunity, I networked aggressively and secured a position at a different company within 3 weeks. The role offered a modest salary increase over my previous job, though nothing like what the missed opportunity would have provided. Still, it was a start at rebuilding. I kept contact with my father minimal during this time. When we did speak, I remained calm but firm. I would not be returning to the previous dynamic. I would not pretend that what happened was okay. I would not accept his dismissal of my feelings or Amanda's complete lack of accountability. 3 months passed. I began making new friends at my new job, people who respected boundaries and understood reciprocity in relationships. One colleague, James, invited me to a weekly poker night where I connected with other young professionals who treated each other with respect. The contrast between these healthy relationships and my family dynamic became increasingly stark. Meanwhile, I worked diligently to repair my financial situation. I created a strict budget, cutting out all non-essentials. I took on freelance coding projects on weekends to generate additional income. Gradually, I paid down the credit card debt I had accumulated during the move. While nothing could replace my grandfather's Mustang, I saved for reliable transportation, eventually purchasing a used but well-maintained Toyota. It lacked the character and sentimental value of the Mustang, but it represented my journey forward. 6 months after moving out, my hard work at the new company paid off with a promotion to senior developer. The salary increase finally put me on solid financial ground again. I began to feel a sense of pride in what I had accomplished on my own despite the setbacks. Then came the call I never expected. On a random Tuesday evening, Amanda's name appeared on my phone screen. I almost did not answer, but curiosity got the better of me. "Douglas, I need your help," she began, without preamble. "Dad and Mom and I had a huge fight, and I need a place to stay for a while. I was thinking I could move in with you until things cool down." The audacity was breathtaking. After destroying my car, costing me a job opportunity, showing zero remorse, and making no attempt at amends, She expected me to welcome her into my home. Why would you think that would be okay? I asked, genuinely curious about her reasoning. Because we are family, she said, as if it were obvious. And families help each other out. In that moment, all the thoughts that had been forming over the past 6 months crystallized. Amanda saw family as a one-way street. She could take whatever she wanted, violate any boundary, cause any amount of damage, and still expect support when she needed it. Meanwhile, my needs, feelings, and boundaries were irrelevant. I thought about the immense mental and emotional growth I had experienced since setting firm boundaries. I thought about my new friends who respected me. I thought about the promotion I had earned through hard work. I thought about how peaceful my life had become without the constant stress of having my boundaries violated. The temptation to help was there briefly. I had been raised to believe that family always comes first, that you always help relatives in need. But I recognized that impulse as part of the dysfunctional system I had been working to escape. True family supports each other reciprocally. True family respects boundaries. True family takes accountability for mistakes. In that clarifying moment, I found the strength to do what was necessary for my own well-being. I took a deep breath before responding to Amanda, choosing my words carefully. I wanted to be clear without being cruel, firm without being vindictive. Amanda, I am not comfortable having you stay with me, I said calmly. Our relationship has significant unresolved issues, beginning with you taking my car without permission after I explicitly said no, causing me to miss an important job interview, and ultimately destroying a vehicle that had irreplaceable sentimental value. You have never acknowledged the harm you caused, or offered a genuine apology. There was a moment of stunned silence on the other end of the line. I do not think anyone had ever set a clear boundary with Amanda before. Are you serious right now? She finally sputtered. That was 6 months ago. Are you still hung up on that stupid car? It was never just about the car, I explained patiently. It was about respect for my boundaries and property. It was about accountability for your actions. In a healthy relationship, when someone makes a mistake, they acknowledge it, apologize sincerely, and work to make amends. You have done none of those things. Her tone shifted quickly from shock to anger. You are so unforgiving, she spat. This is why I never liked you. You think you are better than everyone else. When manipulation did not work, she tried guilt. Family is supposed to be there for each other no matter what. I guess you do not really consider us family, do you? Family respects each other, I responded. Family does not steal from each other. Family takes responsibility when they hurt each other. This is not about forgiveness. It is about the fact that nothing has changed. You still do not see anything wrong with what you did. She hung up abruptly. I felt a momentary pang of guilt, quickly followed by a profound sense of peace. I had stood my ground without becoming angry or hurtful. I had expressed my boundaries clearly and calmly. For perhaps the first time in my relationship with Amanda, I had prioritized my well-being without apology. My phone rang again 20 minutes later. This time it was my father. Douglas, he began, his voice tight with anger. Amanda just called us in tears. I cannot believe you would refuse to help your sister when she needs you. I noticed immediately that he called her my sister, not my stepsister. Another subtle way of enforcing the narrative that we were one big, happy family despite all evidence to the contrary. Dad, I responded calmly. I set a boundary based on past experience. Amanda has shown no remorse or accountability for taking my car without permission, causing me to miss my job interview and destroying Grandpa's Mustang. Why would I invite that disrespect into my home? There was a long pause. When he spoke again, his voice had lost some of its edge. The car incident was unfortunate, but holding grudges is not healthy, Douglas. This is not about grudges, I explained. This is about patterns of behavior that have not changed. Amanda still believes she did nothing wrong. She still expects me to support her while disrespecting my boundaries. Nothing has been resolved. Another pause, longer this time. When my father spoke again, I heard something I had not expected: uncertainty. She did ask permission to borrow the car, right? He asked hesitantly. No, Dad. I told her explicitly multiple times that she could not borrow it. She took it anyway. A heavy sigh came through the phone. I was not aware of that, he admitted. She told us you had agreed. This small acknowledgement felt monumental. For the first time, my father was considering that Amanda might not have been truthful, that perhaps her version of events was not entirely accurate. I need to think about this, he said finally. Over the next few months, a slow shift began in my relationship with my father. He started calling regularly just to check in. He suggested meeting for lunch occasionally, just the two of us. During these meetings, he asked questions and actually listened to my responses. He began to acknowledge in small ways at first that Amanda had issues with boundaries and accountability. 4 months after Amanda's attempt to move in with me, my father made a full apology. "I failed you, Douglas," he said during one of our lunch meetings. "I was so focused on making my new marriage work that I ignored your legitimate concerns. I dismissed your feelings about the car because it was easier than holding Amanda accountable. I am truly sorry." Those words healed something deep within me. While they did not erase the past, they opened the possibility of a healthier relationship moving forward. My father and I began rebuilding our bond, this time with mutual respect and clear boundaries. My relationship with Amanda never recovered, largely because she continued to refuse any accountability for her actions. She maintained that I was overreacting, holding grudges, and generally being difficult. Rather than fight this narrative, I simply maintained my distance, interacting with her only when absolutely necessary during family gatherings. The most unexpected outcome of this difficult journey was my father's newfound respect. By standing firm in my boundaries, I had actually strengthened our relationship rather than damaged it. He now treated me as an equal adult rather than a child whose feelings could be dismissed. I learned that sometimes the most loving thing you can do in a relationship is set clear, firm boundaries. That forgiveness does not require allowing harmful patterns to continue. That self-respect and family loyalty are not mutually exclusive. The journey of healing continues every day. Some family gatherings are still awkward. Some old patterns occasionally resurface. But I now have the tools and confidence to navigate these challenges while staying true to myself. Have you ever had to set difficult boundaries with family members? Let me know in the comments below how you handled similar situations. If this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe to hear more about navigating challenging family dynamics. Remember, standing up for yourself is not selfish. It is necessary for healthy relationships. Thank you for listening to my story, and I hope it helps you find the courage to honor your own boundaries.